powered by Riverside FM.
Welcome to another edition of Unconventional Playbook. We are back after the bye. Took a little R&R, but we're back here on Unconventional Playbook. You know, please hit that like and subscribe button. Keep continuing to grow the channel. We really appreciate it. You know, the Minnesota Vikings, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, there's been a term that's been bounced around that Kwesi is cooking. And you can make an argument that Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah is Executive of the Year, General Manager of the Year, whatever title you want to put on that award. I mean, I've never seen a GM bring in so many different pieces from a team last year and have those pieces become so impactful. Those of you have probably heard the news that yesterday they made a trade for Cam Akers for a conditional 2026 sixth-round draft pick, and I believe they get a seventh-round back. So essentially, it's a swap to bring back a running back who, for all intents and purposes, has had a lot of injuries in terms of his Achilles. I think he's popped his Achilles twice, but he was having a pretty productive season with the Houston Texans. Their quarterback room is pretty solid. So time was limited there with the Houston Texans. And so I think the Minnesota Vikings wanted to bring somebody in that understood the playbook, that had played for them before. You know, Cam Akers leaving was a little strange. You know, they had made an announcement that they were going to resign Cam Akers, and then they didn't, and he ended up with the Texans. Nothing really came out about that. But when the announcement came, it was pending physical. And I'm assuming that he didn't pass the physical. You know, each individual NFL team has their own standards in terms of their team doctors and what passing a physical means. Obviously, he didn't get that done with the Minnesota Vikings. He did not pass the physical. So he ended up with the Houston Texans, and now he's back with the Vikings, and I'm really, really happy about that. That doesn't mean that Ty Chandler is not the guy. It just gives our running back room a little bit of depth. Aaron Jones has been injury prone. You know, he's coming off an injury, his hip. We don't know if he's going to be able to play on Sunday. He looked pretty good in practice yesterday. That didn't seem to be bothering him, but they only had about an hour of practice yesterday. Obviously, he wasn't getting hit on that hip, but he's probable for the game on Sunday. So we're hoping that he can get out there because we saw how that affected the Minnesota Vikings offense. And then you look at just those type of moves. Kwesi may have another move in his bag as the deadline to the trade deadline becomes more apparent. And it gets closer. And there's just a little bit more sense of urgency to possibly make a move on the interior offensive line or the interior defensive line. And he's just been cooking, man. And if there's a move to be made and we can do it, Kwesi has shown that he is a guy that can do it. If you look at the landscape of all of the pieces that he's brought in, the biggest decision was to hold Kirk Cousins' decision and to bring in Sam Darnold. Now, obviously, he's conversing with the coaches to get information on guys that would fit the system. I'm sure KOC had various meetings with Kwesi saying, hey, this guy can fit what we do in getting Sam Darnold. He would be a nice bridge quarterback is the term that they use, but he's become more than a bridge. He's in the conversation of, do you bring this guy back? I've seen it on a lot of different podcasts. We've talked about it here on the UP. It's just a great move. That move is so significant that Sam Darnold was named NFC Player of the Month. That's how significant that move was. And then you look at still on the offensive side of the ball, you look at Aaron Jones. You know, our running back room was not great last year. At least it was not productive last year. And to steal a huge piece like Aaron Jones from our rivals, the Green Bay Packers, and then have him come in, and when he's healthy, he's definitely effective, to come in and have the impact that he has had on our football team. It's absolutely fantastic. And you saw what Aaron Jones was when he left the game. He was hurt. Our offense could not move the ball. So how impactful would you say Aaron Jones is to our football team? He's very impactful because our offensive resume has shown when he's not in the football game for an extended period of time, our offense is not what it has been. And Ty Chandler did not look great last game. Doesn't mean he's not a serviceable backup. It just didn't look great last time he hit the field. So that's as far as I'm going to go with that. Then you look at the defensive side of the ball. Andrew Van Ginkel, Mr. Pick Six, fits in perfectly with B-Flow's defense. One of the reasons why he wanted to come here is because of B-Flow. And they have been using him incredibly smart. Again, one of those versatile players. Grenard is leading the NFL in pressures. Had a 3-game sack game against his former team, the Houston Texans. Two key pieces to the Minnesota Vikings defense. And you can argue the pieces that we've been able to put together gives our defense a lot more versatility than it had when Danielle Hunter was on a team. And Danielle Hunter is a fantastic player. Don't get me wrong. Danielle Hunter is absolutely fantastic, but Danielle Hunter was not a cover guy. And to play in this scheme, you've got to be a guy that can rush the quarterback at times. You got to be a guy that can stop the run at times. And you got to be a guy that can drop back in coverage. And that's where Danielle Hunter was weak, dropping back in coverage. It just looked awkward every time he did it. He was a hand-in-the-ground lineman for years, played in a 4-3 scheme, and now you're trying to flip him because he's talented to a 3-4 scheme. And at times it just looked awkward. So now we got these sleek running backs in the backfield. And these guys can play on the line of scrimmage. They can drop back in coverage. And they can rush the quarterback. So the pieces that Kwesi has been bringing in, Shaq Griffin, man. Shaq Griffin was on the junk pile. No one was really knocking down his door to get him. Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah brings him in. And he's been really impactful. Not a superstar, but a star cornerback. Stephon Gilmore, you've already seen the impact he's made. Or maybe you don't see it because they rarely ever throw his way. And when you throw his way, you're going to pay for it. Look at Aaron Rodgers and the Jets game in London. Aaron Rodgers driving down the field. Stephon Gilmore said, nope, don't come this way. Key interception to end the game. I mean, I look at this as just a genius blueprint. Does this free agent class get rid of the stain that was Kwesi's first draft class? Because this is absolutely incredible. I mean, you can go down the line of guys on this roster that Kwesi has brought in to make an impact this year. It's just been genius. It's just been genius. So I've got a feeling that, yeah, we just traded for Cam Akers, but I got a feeling Kwesi is working on something else. As my boy would say back home in Cleveland, I got a feeling he's working on something else. Just got a feeling. Man, this three-headed monster of the Minnesota Vikings is absolutely incredible. KOC, B-Flow, Kwesi. Man, if I'm the Wilfs, I'm writing the checks. These three guys are going to take this franchise where it's never gone before. Never gone before. I don't think there's anyone in their right minds, including the most diehard Vikings fans, if you were serious about a conversation and you looked at our schedule that had us 5-0. And the biggest reason why we are 5-0 going into the bye is because of the genius of Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah. You got to give this guy his props. And in Kwesi, we trust. He's going to continue to get it done. And so whatever he does for this football team in the future, I'm going to believe in, because right now the guy's not missing. He's cooking. A lot of great things coming up this week. We got Patrick Buchanan coming back off the bye with his Patrick picks. We're going to preview the big Minnesota Vikings Lions game. Got a lot of information on that. And then, of course, our post-game show, which is always live after the Minnesota Vikings game. We've been going at 8 p.m., but we may move that time up. It's got a little bit more availability. So we're definitely going to be moving that time up. Great things coming from the UP. Hit that like and subscribe button. UP Nation, we appreciate you so much. We're going to be coming at you with more great content. UP Nation, we'll make sure to see you when we see you. LaTrey, take us home, man.
I don't know who I am. Can I say I'm a man? Am I losing my mind? Am I wasting my time? Do I know who I am?